So when I recently found out that only 25% of the people eligible for an HSA account actually use it, and even less use it as an investment vehicle, I knew I had to do a video, so here we go. Before we dive into it, if you are new here, my name is Brad. I make videos with tips and motivation on how to get out of debt, save money, invest for retirement, all in the hopes that we all reach financial independence. The HSA, the Health Savings Account, also known as the Stealth IRA, has become a huge player in the FI community. But like I just said a second ago, only about 25% of the people eligible for one are using it. And I think the real disconnect comes with, that intimidation factor of exactly not knowing what it is. So in this video, I'm going to define exactly what the HSA account is, who's eligible for the HSA account, the pros, the cons, and how you actually get that money out when you use them for qualified health purchases. Now, the HSA, which is not to be confused with an FSA, which I'll explain what that is also in 1 second, is a tax advantage account that the IRS allows you to use to pay for qualified medical expenses. Now, this list of qualified medical expenses, it changes pretty much every single year, but it's very, very Googleable. You can look it up. And when I first heard about the HSA account, I assumed that these were going to be outlandish things that I was never going to use in my own personal life. But I found out that the HSA account can be used for expenses on common things like sunscreen and birth control and band-aids, all the way up to braces and big-time surgeries. Once I knew all the things that an HSA is currently covering, that alone pretty much made it a no-brainer before I ever even realized the amazing benefits that it has for financial independence, for saving, for investing, for retirement, the whole deal. So at first you might be thinking to yourself, okay, I'm in. First glance, I'm in, Brad. But there are some prerequisites and there are some things that you need to have in order to be eligible for the HSA. Now, when you Google this, the first thing you'll see is that you need a high deductible health plan. And I remember when I first started looking in all these things, I'm like, HSA, no idea what that means. High deductible health plan, no idea what that means. And I was out. So just bear with me for 1 minute. It's not that confusing. A high deductible health plan just means it's a health plan that holds a high deductible. And if you don't know what a deductible is, all it means is the amount of money that you have to pay out of pocket, that's called a deductible, before insurance will then take over on that expense. And not every insurance policy is a high deductible health plan. And because of this high deductible, the premiums on these plans tend to be a little bit lower, but that doesn't mean that they're for everybody. Currently, right now, the IRS considers a high deductible health plan as $1,350 deductible if you are a single person and $2,700 as a deductible if you are a part of a family plan. It also says that your max out-of-pocket deductibles and expenses for the entire year cannot exceed $6,750 and $13,500 respectively. If you're not sure if you have a high deductible health plan, it's a simple call to your HR. And sometimes, depending on your job, you are going to have a choice whether you want a high deductible health plan with a lower premium or you want a health plan with a low deductible, which is going to come with high premiums. And the type of person and where you are in your life may dictate which one you might want. HSAs tend to benefit healthy people that don't need to go to the doctor or that don't have kids or don't have recurring medical expenses, because you get to avoid those high deductibles. If you're somebody that needs to go to the doctor often, for whatever reason, you have young kids, you have a chronic illness, then a high deductible health plan may not be for you, and this might not be your best option. That's something I really want to drive home, because in every single HSA review that I've ever seen, nobody ever gave that caveat that if you're somebody that has to go to the doctor a lot, you don't want to just be paying deductible after deductible just so you could take advantage of the HSA, because they'll kind of be a wash. So if you are a healthy person, young person, this might be definitely for you. But if not, you might want to do some further research, do some math, and see if this works for you when I talk about how much you can actually contribute every single year. In addition to the high deductible health plan, there are some other requirements as well. You can't have another form of medical coverage, but not too many people hold two forms. You can't be over the age of 65. You cannot be on Medicare. And also, lastly, you cannot be a dependent on somebody else's tax return. So that really goes for like the really, really young people that might be watching this video and getting ready to start an HSA. Aside from that high deductible and you might needing to go to the doctor very often, I don't know too many other cons when it comes to the HSA. If you have a con, please add value to this video. Go down into the description below. If you have an HSA or if you experience one or you know another con that I might have missed, I beg you, please leave it down below so that all the viewers can get that extra added content. I'd really appreciate it. Now on to the wonderful things that make the HSA so great and the reason why I had to get on here and scream from the mountaintops to the 75% of people who are eligible for one and not using it. Here's the pros. You can use an HSA as just strictly a savings account. That's what most people do that are using an HSA. But what very few people know is that in most cases, you can attach this HSA right to a brokerage account and use it as an investment vehicle for long-term growth and compound interest. Unlike an FSA account, where if you do not use the money, you lose that money at the end of the year, in an HSA, all of the funds carry over year after year, even if you do not use them, which is where that long-term investment possibility really comes in. You can start this now, kind of like an IRA, which is why they call it the stealth IRA, and you can build this up year after year. And actually, the less you use your HSA right now, the better you're gonna be long-term. And you might be saying to yourself, what do you mean I don't wanna use it? You can still use it, but not take the reimbursements. I'm going to get to that in just 1 second. So currently, right now in 2019, if you are a single filer, you are allowed to contribute $3,500 every single year into the HSA account. And if you are married, that goes up to $7,000. And like other retirement accounts, if you're over 55, you get a catch up where you can contribute an additional $1,000 on top of that until you turn 65, and then you are no longer eligible for an HSA. Another beautiful thing is that other people can contribute into this HSA account, like your employer. And in some cases, you can even have other family members contribute into the HSA account, which can be used as an investment vehicle once again. This kind of competes with the 529, where people make the argument with the 529 that they love it because their family members can invest into it for their children. Well, here's another place that's not limited with all the limitations of a 529, where people can come in from the outside and contribute into that HSA if they meet the requirements. And the absolute showstopper, arguably the best thing about an HSA account, and you might have heard this phrase used, it has a triple tax advantage. And it's really the only type of account that I've seen with this type of tax benefit. What do I mean when I say the triple tax advantage? Well, it's simple as this. The money that you contribute to your HSA account, it goes in tax-free, like your 401k, your 403b, or your 457. You do not pay tax on that money. It lowers your W-2. So there's the first tax advantage. And then it grows over time and it compounds tax-free as well, like the Roth IRA. So now you have the benefits of the 401k, but you have the growth of the Roth IRA as well. There's the second advantage. And third, and it makes me chuckle even saying it, I almost can't believe it. When you use the funds for those qualified medical expenses, the money comes out without being taxed as well. You heard me right. The money goes in pre-tax. It grows tax-free. It comes out and used as qualified medical expenses tax-free as well. The triple tax advantage. The next thing I thought to myself when I got to this point in the research was, what if I never have any qualified medical expenses? What if I live the healthiest life ever and I die suddenly and I never needed to use that money? Or I'm old and gray and I have so much money in there and I want that money and I couldn't possibly use it all for medical expenses. Then what would I do? Well, here's how we can talk about using the money as reimbursements and distributions as well, because you can get that money out even if you don't use it for medical expenses. Not only does the HSA benefit you, but it also benefits your spouse and your dependents as well. So you're going to use those qualified medical expenses for you, your spouse, and your dependents. For most companies that I've seen, you just get a debit card in which you can use that debit card and it links right to your HSA account and you can use them right there on the spot for medical expenses. But I'm going to give you a warning. Try not to do that. Try and pay out of pocket if you can and you have the means, and here is why. This is almost like a hack of the HSA. It makes it really, really awesome. You do not need to be reimbursed for your qualified medical expenses at the time that you purchase them. You don't even have to do it in the year that you did it. If you could pay for those medical expenses, those Band-Aids, sunscreens, birth control, you name it, if you could pay for those things out of pocket right now, and you could keep the receipts and all the records of you purchasing that, you could save those. I know a lot of people, including myself, that just save them in a spreadsheet. You can then save those receipts, keep contributing to your HSA, let that account grow, compound over time, and then when you reach retirement, you could then apply for that reimbursement. You could take receipts from 10 years ago and you could send them in for reimbursement and use those distributions later in life and in retirement as income. It's outstanding. Think about how a $10 worth of Band-Aids compounded over 15 years, you're going to get that Band-Aid for free and then some exponential growth on top of that as well. So we want to try and use the HSA, contribute to it, max it out, but not take the reimbursements yet. Use it as that investment vehicle. Let those investments grow until you reach retirement, then ask for the reimbursements, and that money will come in and you could use that as retirement passive income. And as I'm sure you guessed, if you do take the money out for non-medical expenses, there's just going to be a penalty. If you are under the age of 65, you'll pay a 20% penalty on that withdrawal, and also you will pay income tax. If you are over the age of 65 and you take that money out, you will just pay taxes on it. You will not pay a penalty if you're over the age of 65. So really that triple tax advantage does come into play when you use it, but you can also get that money out after 65 with no penalties. You just have to pay income tax on it. I hope at the very least this video makes you go look and see if you're actually eligible for one. If you are and you did not know so, can you leave in the comments? Let me know. I love to hear when I give some people some great information. If you have an HSA and you have any feedback about that, please let me know as well. If you're curious in what order I put this in filling my retirement buckets, I'll leave a video right here which explains my entire retirement plan. Down here we'll leave a video for you that YouTube thinks that you might want to watch. And until I see you on the next one, guys, stay positive, work really, really hard, and always, be kind to other people. I hope you have yourself an amazing day and an even better tomorrow.